like that apple thing where you just put it on top and push it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, you're right. The apple corer.
Yeah.
And I have the apple peeler corer slicer from Pampered Chef, but it's died. So.
Paul, you're in charge of letting us know if this is working.
Okay.
No, we fixed that.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Okay. So now I'm not. There we go. All right. So any great holiday dishes that you ate?
No need bread.
No Need Bread
Toasted.
by Jenny Can.
Yeah. the toasted sesame with-
Oh, toasted seeds. Yeah. Ooh, that sounds fun. I want to go home and make that.
Well, my daughter-in-law was Mexican cuisine.
Oh, cuisine.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we had bacalao.
Uh-huh.
And he makes you get dried shrimp, make them into patties.
Yeah.
Put them in the
Oh, that sounds very fancy.
that was really
Oh, okay. Good. Okay. Anything else? Let's see. The roasted potatoes, I would say, were the best at our Christmas dinner. But then we also did the roasted Brussels sprouts and the green beans. Those were all very good.
all together or separate.
All separate. So different ones. And that went along, I'm ashamed to say, with a huge prime rib, which I did not eat. So last January, we talked kind of the same theme. And I said, what are you going to tell me at the end of this year what you're most proud of? What did you do? What do you want to have done through this year that when I ask you next January, what am I most proud of? So I'm asking, what are you most proud of in your lifestyle, your life, your exercise, your eating, whatever from 2024? Anything? Exercise? Good. Okay. Showing up here. Excellent. Anything?
My goal was to park all the way down as far as I can in the parking lot.
Great idea.
And then I walk up here, and then I walk up the stairs.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of the time I do.
Okay, good. I think that's one thing about these goals that we set, and as a goal setter, I have to realize it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You know, you want to set it and have realistic, we'll talk about that, or realistic goals that we can actually accomplish. So you don't have to do it all the time, but you're doing a great job if you're doing it most of the time. Anybody else have any they want to share that they're most proud of from 2024?
I survived it.
Survived it. That's good. Okay. And you know, it takes a lot of skill to survive some years. You're right. So I think that's good. I think what I'm most proud of, my goal I set last year was to always stretch while I watch TV. I'm trying to be more, you know, do something while I watch TV because I'm ashamed that we watch TV for like several hours a night. And so I'm trying to do something that accomplish something. So I stretch. So I did pretty good. And Linda's been working with me for a number of years on being able to touch my toes, which I can do now. So it works when you continue to do it. So as we're talking today, think about what you want. If we're thinking 2025 is a new chapter, what do you want to do this year? So this is why I changed it from New Year, New You. Because in this Emily McDowell, I have no idea who she is, but she said, a toast to the old you or chapter. If you feel inspired to use the new year to help you reset or change habits, great. But the old you has survived every terrible day, every hard thing, every awful circumstance, every heartbreak you've ever felt in the last year. So the old you is a fighter, and that's worth celebrating too. But maybe we would have a few new things we wanted to focus on, or when I ask you next January, what you're most proud of. So remember this discussion for next year. So, oh, there's a little bug. So what do you want to do in this new chapter or in 2025? as far as activity, food, nutrition. And Paul and I were talking about some things too earlier, and I was away with my family this weekend, and the biggest conversation anybody had was sharing their apps for their stress management, for how to meditate, for doing all those things. So I need to add to this list regarding stress management, because that's a big thing. So let's say I gave you some ideas here, but think about what you'd want to do. Is it time to pull out the Instapot? Or maybe you got one for Christmas or some new kitchen gadget. I don't know. Last year for Christmas, I begged and begged for an air fryer, and I finally got one. But it took me a lot of the year to have enough nerve to try it. And so I have been using it now. So I'm kind of proud of that.
So what do you do?
Well, the biggest thing I do in my air fryer is broccoli. And I cut it into little florets and put it on the tray and turn it on, and they become kind of crispy. So I like that. My sister swears by using it for reheating things. If you get takeout or you have your leftovers from a restaurant, she loves it for that because it brings things back to life. Potatoes are a big thing. I don't use it as much because I bought this little tiny one with a tray like this big. So it's not really big enough to do some things. But I do like my air fryer. Maybe you want to start using a slow cooker. Perfect time of year for a slow cooker. Although if you have an Instapot, you can get rid of your slow cooker and just use your Instapot. Do you want to focus on one pot meals or things that are easier? Do you want to eat more? Fill in the blank. Vegetables, greens, fruits. What's something else we might want to eat more of?
Grains.
Grains, thank you, whole grains. Do you want to eat fewer, I don't know, sweet things? Processed foods, that's an excellent one.
Yes, I agree with that one. Second that one.
Okay, I second it. All in favor? Yes. Maybe you want to try sheet pan meal. So here's a little example in this picture of a sheet pan meal. We just throw everything on the sheet pan, stick it in the oven. Comes out and it's dinner. Love those. Do you want to try new foods or cuisines? I know John is hip to all these new flavors, so he's always trying to teach us throughout the year about like Ethiopian food or Indian food or all the different flavors. Maybe we want to try something new. Do we want to have new ways to find recipes? Maybe we always look in cookbooks, but maybe now we want to go on a website and look at something or listen to podcasts. Do we want to focus exercise-wise on our flexibility, our strength, our number of steps that we do every day, our minutes of exercise? If you have an Apple Watch, it's always telling you to do stuff. I find it very motivational. Other people find it very stressful. So you got to do what's you. And what about if we added to this list stress management? What new techniques do we want to use to help manage our stress? And I know we got lots of classes and lectures on that here. So if we were going to make one nutrition related change in 2025 and one activity related change, what would you do? Do you have an idea? Anybody?
Are you going to tell you?
If you want to, you don't have to.
I have to eat more vegetables.
Eat more vegetables. Excellent one. Okay, good. More movement. Okay, good. Good. And you also want to remember my last thing here, and we talk about this a lot, is what's your why? Why do you want to do those things? Because I told you. And that's not the right answer. Not because I told you, because you won't keep doing it. And that's what they really say. Like if your doctor says you have to do this, you don't keep doing it. You got to do it because you get something out of it.
That's just it. Instead of it being guilt driven,
Right.
motivating without the guilt, without the, oh, you didn't do enough of this week. It doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
Moving forward. We should meet that goal.
That's right. So that's why I love goals, because, maybe I wasn't perfect this week, but, this is my goal and this is why I'm doing it. So my goals are less processed foods, which will help to lower sodium in my diet. And because my blood pressure is not the greatest. And activity wise, I want to work on yoga. I've been doing my stretching like Linda taught me and all the things that you guys do with her. But I really need, I think, yoga too. So that's my goal. And why is because I want to be more flexible and reduce my risk of injury. And as I'm getting older, it's harder and harder to do things. You know, my 90-year-old mother went up to the snow with us this year. And I want to be like her because she can still get around and do stuff. That keeps her young. So think about this, about what you want to do in 2025 and what are you going to be proud of, and tell us about next January. So here we go. If you want to prevent, manage, or reverse a chronic disease, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, a whole food plant-based diet, the research shows is the best way to actually reverse those things. Now you might say, can I reverse my diabetes? And what we do is we put it in remission, because all the things you do, if you quit doing them, it comes back. So, but we want to put all those things in remission. And then we want a whole food plant-based diet incorporates green light foods, which are unprocessed plant foods. So when we're eating, like everything in that soup is unprocessed plant food. Yellow light would be processed plant foods. So like maybe, and you know, a lot of things we eat are processed, but not in a bad way, right? We eat canned beans. So that's not bad processing, although they do add sodium. So, but we can get around that by going no salt added. But chips would be an ultra processed food. That's a red light food. Yes. So ultra processed plant foods, even though like it's a chip and it came from a corn tortilla, which is a good food, if it's ultra processed, it's a red light food. And animal foods are more red light foods because they've been associated with those diseases we talked about. Now, anywhere you are on the spectrum is okay. We just want to eat more green lights and less red lights. However that looks for you, and it's going to look different for all of us. So if we decide, yeah, okay, I want to try to do more plants or more vegetables, more power to you. But whole intact plant foods, meaning the way they grew, are lower in saturated fat generally, lower in caloric density, meaning they're few calories per bite. So let's say we take that corn tortilla, which isn't very high in calories, but then we fry it and turn it into a chip. Now it's high caloric density. Most plant-based foods are high in fiber. They're low in glycemic response, meaning they're not going to affect your blood sugar that much. Even though they're carbs, they're not going to raise your blood sugar as much. They're high in those plant nutrients, phytonutrients that help reduce risk of chronic disease. So plants, phyto is plants. So they're only in plant foods. So we got to eat plant foods to get those special things that help with our immunity and help protect our DNA and help our blood vessels. And you know what? A plant-based diet can taste really good. Especially if John cooks it.
You know, like dates.
Yes,
Are
love
they
them.
considered processed?
That's a good example of we process our foods, but that doesn't necessarily make them bad. So dates are usually, you know, they pick them and they do something to them so we can eat them. So those are okay.
And
Yeah.
roasted nuts.
Right. So those are all right. Yeah, I think we got to take a look at the type of processing, because we can't always eat everything until we do something to it, you know? So I think that's all right. Nuts, all those things. Let's see, what's another benefit? If we eat whole intact plant foods, they're also associated with easier ways to manage our weight, to lose or to maintain, to help reduce diseases. We have less inflammation, which is a risk factor for chronic diseases. We help have mental clarity, so we're thinking a little bit better, less cholesterol. It's better for our environment, generally, less processing of that food. So whole intact foods, the way it grew. And then also plant-based diets are associated with less obesity, less heart disease, less diabetes, less high blood pressure, less erectile dysfunction. And more, they're associated with more, having more energy, better mood, And you know, the animals really love it too. So now they're all very happy. So if we just move more towards that, I know some people here are fully on board. Some people are moving that way. Some people are, yeah, that's not really for me. So if it's not, that's okay too. Then we just try to eat more fruits and vegetables and whole grains and beans and throw those animal products on the side. Oops. So here's just some tips. This came from Forks Over Knives, which is a good website to just kind of learn about things plant-based. But they're saying here, we load up on fruits, veggies, starchy vegetables. What's a starchy vegetable? Potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots. Well, you know, carrots, I know they're sweet, but they're not really super starchy. So I count them almost with just our veggies. I'm thinking, yeah, they're okay. I'm thinking corn and peas and winter squash. Those aren't bad, but they're starchy veggies. They have a little more carb, and that's okay. Intact whole grains. So that would be like eating oats or barley or give me another one. Intact whole grain, millet, amaranth, brown rice, wheat berries. Yes, those would be intact. So we haven't processed the heck out of them. So we can take our rice and then we can peel off all the brownness and then we can puff them up and make Rice Krispies. So Rice Krispies aren't necessarily a horrible food, but that's not an intact whole grain. It's not like how it was grown. There's no fiber left. And legumes would be like beans, split peas. And then in moderation, then we could have our plant milks if we're ready to get rid of dairy, tofu and tempeh. So those are a little processed, right? But I mean, you can make them from scratch, but most of us don't. Whole grain flours and bread. So we took that wheat berry, which is an intact whole grain, we ground it up, and now we have flour. So the whole grain might be better for us, but we can still enjoy that. And here's your nuts, seeds, nut seed butters. Those are all okay. Now, I'd still try to go the least processed in the nut butters. Like instead of Jif and Skippy, I do the brands that are just ground up nuts. Or I go to Winco where you just press a button and it grinds up your nuts for you. And I've actually started making my own, which is super easy in the food processor. The things we want to avoid are bleached flours, white flour stuff, because we lost the nutrients, we've lost the fiber, dairy products. And dairy products are associated with some cancerous. People say, oh, I thought milk, it does a body good. Well, that's really excellent marketing. But milk's really for baby cows. And then we make a lot of things out of that milk, like cheese, which is super high in saturated fat and artery clogging stuff. So the less we do of that, probably the better. But if we are going to do dairy, let's do non-fat. Eggs, again, associated with some health risk. Egg white would be at least the protein and not the fat and cholesterol. Meat, poultry, seafood. You know, if we're going to eat those, we just want to eat less. And we want to try to avoid red meat and processed meats. So what's a processed meat that we definitely wouldn't want to have? Salami, prosciutto, okay. Cold cuts, yes. Pepperoni. What? Hot dogs, good one. Okay. I mean, is there really meat in a hot dog? I don't know. There's lots of stuff. Whatever they swept up off the floor, that's what's in it. We want to go easy on the oil. So this says avoid or limit, not like I can't ever have that. But oils, you take that olive and then you squeeze all the juice out of it in the form of oil, and it becomes super concentrated now. And we do lose some of the good nutrients and the value of eating those olives. So when we eat fats, we want to eat the whole fat if we can. Whole intact would be our words for the day. Refined sweets, you know, like ho-hos, Twinkies, ding dongs, all the things that were in your lunchbox when you were a kid. And then white rice, it's better to have the brown rice. Some people hate brown rice, and so if you just eat white rice, that's okay. But brown rice, you get a little more fiber. So all the different ways we can think about what to eat, I would say this is the basis. And if we are going to go, sorry, there, I have to be down there to do it. That's my problem. Okay. If we are going to go whole food, plant-based, and notice I didn't say just plant-based. I said whole food, plant-based. Whole food, plant-based gets rid of all that processed stuff. Because I could go eat those vegan Cheez-Its and those vegan peanut butter cups. That's not a whole food. It is plant-based. I mean, I don't think it's plant-based. It is vegan. It's not made from animals, but it's not necessarily good for us. But we want to, if we're not eating any animal products, we do need to take a B12 supplement because that's where we get our B12 is from animal foods. And it grows on a bacteria. And so sometimes we can get it and it's supplemented in some of our foods, but it's better for all of us to just take a supplement, especially as we get older, because we really are at risk of a deficiency in B12 as we get older because we don't digest it as well or absorb it as well. So if you're under 65, 2,000 micrograms a week. If you're 65 and over, 1,000 a day. And if we're thinking, oh, well, what about my calcium then? If you're getting lots of dark green leafies and beans, we're doing okay with our calcium. And there's some greens right there. And you just had some great collard greens today. So thinking, okay, what am I going to eat? Oh my gosh, my plate. I'm going to have a fruit and or vegetable at every meal. That's going to help increase those veggies. A whole grain or a starch at every meal and a protein at every meal. There you go. I love the plate, actually. The plate helps me visualize what I need. But notice, if this wasn't a vegan plate, if it was the regular USDA choose my plate, what would be different is in the legumes and nut section, it would just say protein. So that could come from animals. And instead of water, that would be dairy. So still, even the USDA plate is 3/4 plants. So if we do that and shrink our amount of meat we get, we're going to be doing pretty good. So here's some ideas for breakfast and tell me what you guys have. So I have oats for breakfast most days. What do y'all have?
Oatmeal.
Oatmeal? Anybody else? What else do we like? You have omelet. Okay. Greens. Okay, good. So you add your veggies to breakfast, which I love. And so notice on my oats, so I have oats plus fruit plus nuts and seeds. So we got our whole grain, we got our fruit, we got our little protein in there and healthy fat. So we can make those savory by adding greens or vegetables, which I learned from you all because I never would have done that in the past. We could bake our oats. We could have overnight oats. We can just have regular oats. We can do steel cut. We can do rolled oats. We can do oat groats, which is actually the most how they grew in the field. Okay, what else do we have for breakfast? Anybody just have toast? You have toast. Okay. What do you have with it?
Berries with coconut milk.
Okay. All right. So we've got some toast with some fruit. Okay. And a little coconut milk. All right. What else we got? Avocado toast? Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Almond butter.
Okay. And what? What's that? What is a yogurt? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. So we have some toast and we try our favorite toppings on top of them. So we have avocados. Some people, I've never had sweet potato toast. I'm not even sure where I got that idea to put on this slide. Has anybody had that? I don't know. I better try that. I didn't even realize it was there. Okay.
Actually have some sweet potatoes that are sliced.
Yeah.
Frozen, and then you use that like a bread.
Oh, so the sweet potato is the toast. Oh, that's super fun. Okay, I like that. All right. You can put peanut butter, almond butter, nut butter, whatever you like there. You can make French toast. And what about egg type dishes? So we've got, you do your egg whites. I like my scrambled tofu. What else do we do in the egg world? Waffles. Okay. I love waffles. Yeah, I make waffles just from bananas and ground up oats. And they're great. We can make a breakfast hash, like potatoes with veggies and tofu. We actually tried that with that homemade just egg. I did the homemade just egg this year, and it was pretty good. But you can make an omelet with chickpea flour too. We got our waffles, pancakes, crepes. We could just have a bowl of cereal. High fiber cereal with some fruit on it, milk of your choice. We can make smoothies where we could sneak some veggies in there. We have a smoothie bowl. The smoothie bowl is like a smoothie, but less liquidy. So you eat it with a spoon because it's not very liquidy. And so you can't suck it up with a straw. And so then you eat it more slowly and it has a slower rise in your blood sugar. So there would be some breakfast things. And some of us just eat the very same breakfast every single day. And if you like that, great. So what about? Yes. French roast, like coffee? Ah, you know, it is. I am sorry that I failed to put that up there because you're absolutely right. We might need some coffee and tea in there. You are right. Some French roast. I don't ever like coffee. I wish I liked coffee. You people who drink coffee are so cool. I wish I could be that cool, but I don't like it. Okay, so what about lunches and dinners? So we want to have a fruit and or vegetable. We want to have a grain. We want to have a protein. So in the bean world, beans plus a veggie plus a starch, we could have chili. We could have burritos. We could have a bowl where you're putting all those different components into the same bowl. You could have your savory oats. That's one thing I love about the savory oats is, which I usually put edamame in there and some greens, is I can have it for lunch. So that's good too. What kind of lunch do y'all have? Oh, what?
A small one.
You have a small one?
Yeah.
So your bigger meal's dinner?
Yeah, my biggest is breakfast.
Okay.
Little too big. If it's shawarma, then it's big.
Yeah.
But usually it's needed. But lunch is hummus and whatever I can get.
Okay, so kind of a little snacky. So, and actually that's a great way. You should be, you know, if our moms told us this, whoever told us, you eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, dinner like a pauper. That's actually better for us if we can do that. I've never been able to do that because dinner does seem to be our biggest meal of the day. But that's a great idea. Okay, what about starchy things for lunch? Pasta, tacos, veggie burger, sandwiches, anything? To a sandwich? Okay, sandwiches, all right. So I'll do a sandwich with hummus and a bunch of veggies, or a peanut butter sandwich. Can we have got tuna? All right. Then what about and leftovers? You know, that's what I have mostly too. And if I've frozen something I made, like this soup that I made for today, actually I made it on New Year's too. And so I've got a bunch frozen in the freezer. So that's what I had for lunch yesterday. I pulled it out and thawed it. You're absolutely right.
Suitable. Dinner.
Yes. Uh-huh. So, and I think I love leftovers. I love batch cooking. I love making lots of big things so that I can have it throughout the week because you don't want to have to cook every single day. So even the things on our list thus far, so we can freeze that chili, we could freeze burritos, we could freeze the filling for our tacos, we could freeze those veggie burgers. So we always have stuff that we could pull out. And then what if we're going to use a different protein source like a tofu or a tempeh, which is fermented soybean, so it's a little firmer, a lot firmer actually than our tofu. Then we add some veggies and a starch, like a stir fry vegetables with rice, or an omelet, or the hash where you got potatoes and veggies and tofu and veggie meat if you like that. And then there's our soups and stews
And salad.
and salads. I should have said that. You're right. We have a big old salad. Yes. So if you think about these things, if you struggle with, I don't know what to cook, it's good to make a kind of a list of a few of these ideas that work for you. And then you just have that stuff in the home all the time. So at our house, we could always throw a pasta together or tacos or burrito. We just always have that stuff. So then you don't have to rethink the wheel every time. And so for our new year, as I said, I'm big on goals. If you're not, here's just an idea about goals. SMART goals, we often talk about. I know Carrie does a great job talking about SMART goals, and I think Rob's going to pick up on goals when he talks next week. So SMART goals are specific, meaning what am I going to accomplish? And then measurable is how will I know that I'm doing it and it's done? And then achievable or assignable, meaning who's responsible for making it happen? Like maybe it isn't me. Maybe somebody in your house does the cooking. So you're going to have them share in this goal with you. Is it realistic? Can I really do it? And if I said, like for my yoga, I started by thinking, okay, I'm going to do yoga every single day. And then I realized how stupid that was. So now I have it twice a week. That's doable for me. I can always do more, but at least I don't feel like I'm a loser because I didn't do it. And then it's time bound, meaning when is it going to be finished? So I think SMART goals are really good to set. And some people say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. That's not a SMART goal. You need to do certain things to help you achieve that outcome. So I'm going to use smaller plates so that my portions are smaller. That would be your SMART goal. So that ultimately I'm going to lose that 10 pounds or whatever it is your goal is. So if the ultimate goal, that's the outcome, is more flexible, you need to set daily goals to reach that, or weekly goals, or monthly goals. So if I will stretch for 10 minutes every day after my walk, the ultimate outcome is going to be, I'm going to be able to touch my toes by the end of the year. And this was my goal when I was 65. Now I got new goals. Now I'm 67. But just knowing it, knowledge doesn't lead to behavior change. So you got to set little goals. Like, I know I need to be more flexible, but that doesn't make me more flexible. I got to set goals of what I'm going to do to be more flexible. Or I know that I should eat more vegetables, but just knowing that doesn't make me do it. I got to set little goals. I'm going to go to the store every week or the farmer's market and buy a vegetable or try a new vegetable every week or whatever works for you. And then always remember your why, because that is your motivation. So if my goal is to, I'll tell you another one of my goals. I have 8 million goals. One is I really want to work on the wall sit. Have you seen the wall sit? Linda even had a little handout about it out here for a while. It's supposed to be the #1 exercise for your blood pressure, of which mine is too high. And so I'm going to work on my wall sits. And now here we are, the 7th? I haven't done a wall sit yet. But I'm going to now that I've told you, now that it's out there. But that's my why, is I want to lower my blood pressure. I don't want to have to go up on my medication. So I'm going to work on my wall sits. How am I going to do that? I don't know. I'll do wall sit. I can't do one for 10 minutes, but I'll try 2 minutes while I'm watching TV every night. How about that? I just laid that out there for you.
You can hook it up with brushing your teeth.
You know, that's an excellent idea. When you link a habit to something that you always do, you are so right. You're more prone to do it. So do you think I have to do my wall sit before or after I brush my teeth? I can't brush my teeth, so I do my wall sit.
Why not?
I'm just saying that would be my goal. I know, I could do it. I could do it. Wall sits are not fun. Oh,
I rank it right up there with planking.
oh yeah, that's actually on my list too. Uh-huh. Exactly. They help me, or I'm just like too embarrassed not to have done it. I mean, next week when I see you in 2 weeks, I hope you say, have you been doing your wall sits? Because I need to. Yes. So for 2025, and we did this in 2024, and you guys gave us some ideas about what you wanted to learn while we were here. Why, so you could get what you want out of showing up here. So can you think of anything, and which I think we did a lot of those. I have it here in on my phone, my goals or your goals. So I have to find it. But what would you want in 2025? What do you want to learn about? What do you want to hear about? Just shout it out.
What did we say
Last year, we talked about meals that were like what I call a foodie bar, where you can serve, multiple people who are eating different styles, like a taco bar. And I think we've done that sometimes in our things. I have that. We talked about cooking eggless. We talked about baking. So I put those on my list. One thing was tofu recipes. And I think John and I have done quite a few tofu things in our talks. But Linda, and I think Linda was in here when we were doing this last time, and she talked about estate planning and advanced directives. Does anybody want to still hear about those? I don't know if we've heard about them. Have we?
We did once. I don't know if it was last year.
Okay. Do we need more of that? Okay. We'll make sure Linda knows about that.
Better balance.
Balance. Okay. So, and that's a good one. Because they're doing that balance class now, right? I think Carrie does that. Balance. All right. Easy lunches. Okay. Increase immunity. Okay, that's a good one. Hey, Linda. How are you? So I'm going through my list of what we talked about at this class last year. We asked what people wanted to hear about. And I believe you were in the conversation. You brought this up. Estate planning and advanced directives.
Carrie says she'll do a talk on it.
Okay.
They did come over and talk about the state plan.
Yeah.
Because her office is actually still.
Okay. Yeah. I think people were interested in that. Yes. Okay.
I was just listening to a program last night and they were talking how estate planning is a good way to prevent fraud. Because you got everything in place and nobody else can touch it, so.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of fraud, I now have 3 different requests for people that need favors, and do I use Amazon? So they want me to buy an Amazon gift card. So I mean, and their names I know, but it's not their real email.
Really? Oh,
Be careful.
okay.
Someone wants a favor, make sure you call them and ask them if they really want a favor.
It's somebody pretending to be my credit union and telling me that there's a conflict with my Walmart purchase.
Right.
Oh,
And I tried to ask about my car insurance.
uh-huh.
You know, never listened. So I know they're wrong.
Oh. Oh, I get that one all the time. Yes, USPS. Yes, they want to deliver it. Yeah, just don't click on anything. No. Okay, so any other topics I need to add to my list? Because I'll tell you what we have. Linda and I just did for this semester, a calendar, and I haven't talked to you about it yet, John. But we put some things on there, and one was quick and easy things. So we'll include lunches there. I'll add immunity somewhere along the line. And I know, so it sounds like Linda is, and Carrie are gonna take care of those others, and balance. I think Carrie's doing that too. So if you think of other things, we do love to hear it throughout the year. Just let us know what you wanna talk about or what you wanna see in the cooking department, because we aim to please. And are there any particular foods you wanna learn how to make?
How about anti-inflammatory foods? Because
Okay.
it seems like inflammation is connected to every chronic disease.
You're
So
right.
how can we reduce inflammation?
All right.
Going
That's
back to
good.
The balance, we do have a matter of balance class, which is an 8-week thing scheduled to start this Friday, the 24th. So this is over here. If you want to do with the program, John did it last semester. And so it's a great program. But it's a bigger time commitment than just a one-time talk about balance, which we can obviously do there too. But if you want to do the matter of balance course, which is 8 sessions, once a week for 8 weeks, that's starting on the 24th.
And you have to be here for that one.
Yes.
Okay.
There's Linda's class, which is balance.
Yeah.
If you hang out with me, you're gonna be working on your balance, no doubt about it.
Mhm.
Oh. You guys like.
Oh my gosh. Linda,
Teach us how to do that.
I know.
Practice on your bed.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
that's her strengthening class.
That's right. We need to do all the classes to be able to pull that off. And if you think of any foods you want to learn about, we can do that. Any cuisines you want to learn about, let us know. And what do you need to be successful with your particular goal? So like, let's say your goal is balance. What do you need to be more successful? So maybe that is the balance class or different things. So let us know how we can help and what you need to stay motivated. I think just showing up here, and I think you mentioned too, sharing it with people helps you to stay on track. So I love that. Okay. I know. Yes. I know. They're just so quick to say, well, okay, we're just going to up your medicine. Okay. I think that's a great one. And I think really so often everything we talk about, if we're doing it all, it can lead to less medication. So you're right. So I think increasing your knowledge so that when they say, I want to up my medication, you say, no, I would rather do this thing that I heard about down there in 3 months and see how, if that works. So the more knowledge you have, that helps too.
So one of the things that you need to do is just bring it up with your doctor, because once they put you on it, they're not into taking you off.
Yeah, you know, that is so true. You're right. And you have to be your own advocate about having them, you say, can I start to decrease this? Because I'm doing all these changes and I don't think I need to be on it anymore. And they'll help you get off. Maybe.
My doctor now, she asked me now, I'm still taking this medication away.
Oh. Uh-huh. Okay.
Then she'll follow it and let me know it.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Right. That's true.
Good, they help me.
Yeah, they are. You're right. Yeah, some you do need to taper off, so you don't want to just stop them. You're right. Okay, so my black-eyed peas and greens. So we talked about this earlier today, but black-eyed peas, especially coming from the South, is considered to be good luck. And then you have them with greens, which is considered to be like prosperity because of money. And who told me that the black-eyed peas are like coins and the greens are like bills? Who told me? Thank you. Thank you.
In South Carolina, they can't begin January 1st unless you eat Pop and John.
And that's got rice in it.
That's got beans and Greek.
Uh-huh.
Usually,
Yeah.
and so that's health, wealth, and
Oh, okay. I like it. Yeah, so I always have black eyed peas on New Year's too. So how was that soup? Was it okay? I made it on New Year's and I thought it was way too salty, but I didn't use a low sodium broth because I didn't have one. And then I thought it might have used a little too much liquid smoke. That's gives it the kind of meaty almost flavor. So I used less today. And then John added some balsamic vinegar, which I think might add a nice flavor. So that was good. It was in the Instapot. It's super easy. If you've never made anything, this is a good start. The Instapot is nice because you can saute in the bottom of it, like your onions up a little bit. And then you just pour everything else in. It has you take those collard greens, and you could use other greens. Collards are a little hardier green, so they don't disappear like spinach would. And so you put that on top. You slice them and put them on top so that it keeps the beans down in your water. And then you cook it for like 20 minutes and it's done. And black-eyed peas, you normally don't have to pre-soak. Even in this pot, you don't have to pre-soak anyway. You just would cook longer. But black-eyed peas, you generally don't have to pre-soak because they're a thinner skinned bean. So it couldn't be easier, couldn't be cheaper, and it freezes really well. So thank you for eating that.
And also, there's, cornbread ready. It was supposed to be ready for the food that didn't.
Oh,
If you
thank
would like
you.
to try some.
How did your new self-rising cornmeal go?
It did okay, but it made it salty.
Oh, okay. Because it's got the baking powder in it or baking soda.
It's got baking powder, baking soda, and it must have salt to it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Because really, I thought about that on the drive over. I thought I should have made some cornbread to go with that. So thanks for making that, Velma. Think about your 2025. I wish you the greatest year. I hope to see you throughout the year. We'll try to incorporate these topics you talked about. And think about what you want to be most proud of in 2025 when I ask this next January in 2026. Okay? I'm going to be doing my wall sits, so feel free to ask me about them all the time. So thank you. All right. So thanks, everybody. Have a happy year and go eat some of that cornbread.